Welcome to Freedom Talk Radio, maintained by Phil from Michigan and Andy from Grimsby. Have an opinion? Share it. Freedom Talk Radio on Twitter, Facebook, phone, online and email. Don't forget to check out our social media site, ussamichigan.com. That's ussamichigan.com. This is Freedom Talk Radio.
My rights away.
Kevin We Are Change is hosting his own show on homeschooling, how to deregister your kids from the local authority. Tuesdays 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Live calls in the second hour 01 444 390 270. Email Andy Peacher, freedomtalkradio2013@gmail.com. Come as guests, hosts, volunteers.
You're listening to the Freedom Talk Radio Network and the Lead Entertainment Television Group. We are voices from around the world. We have live shows every day. Visit the station's website and register to comment and share stories. Why don't you be a writer for the network at www.freedomtalkradio.co.uk. We are looking for new show hosts, guests and volunteers. If you could help, please email freedomtalkradio2013@gmail.com or add us to your Skype Freedom Talk Radio 1. Andy and Bill wishes you a great day.
Welcome to the show then. Are you there, Kev?
Yeah, I'm here, mate. How you doing?
Not too bad at all. Well, we were trying to get a guest on today, wasn't we? But they're all busy, so we'll have to see if anyone wants to call in. It's an open and free discussion about parenting, CPS, social services, homeschooling, and going to court. Give us a call in the UK. It's 01 444 390 270. In the USA and Canada, it's 347 677 0812. Homeschooling, parenting, social services with Kevin We Are Change. Freedom Talk Radio, the arrowhead for global remedies for humanity. The war has been ongoing between humanity and sanity, and now we declare that it has won by humanity. Want to hear your success stories, how you fought and won to help others further down the line. We're looking for volunteers. So you can volunteer your experiences, knowledge to teach others. In the remedies we have all under common, ancient, divine laws which serve and protect the people. You can email Andy at freedomtalkradio2013@gmail.com. Right, there you go. Yeah, so we've tried to ask people, but we'll see what happens, Kev. Have you got any news? Your end of town in London?
Well, there's loads of things going on. There's as you know, there was a grand jury done, but it was presented to the Old Bailey, but they didn't accept it for some reason because they said it's not their jurisdiction or something like that. So we found out where else to take it. So we might be meeting up this week to go and see about that. I can't really discuss that too much, but that was just a little heads up on that. So
yeah, and of course me and Neil and other people, we've got this fantastic judge on. He's coming on your show no doubt one day. It's Judge Steve Carey, and he's showing everybody how simple it is to do a commercial salvage lien. He's put the word salvage in. We call them commercial liens. And he also agrees with habeas corpuses in most situations, including childcare, being the social services taking the children into care to try and get your children back by producing the body. Judge Curry has been on many shows now in the last week or two, and he's a fantastic man. And all I can say is, his talents have probably been well hidden, and people need to try what he's got on offer. We've devised these templates on exposetheestablishment.com, how to get your kids back strategies, commercial liens, habeas corpuses. Anyone can find them on there, and they really are dead simple. You just put names in of the people you want to lien, your details, your children, and then put it in court with the right form number and get your court fee waiver form, I'm not sure if it's a 244 and 244, but basically, yeah, it's so simple to do, and he will tell us, on future shows how to do that. I've actually done that, Kevin, when my wife was a little bit at Her Majesty's pleasure. I did it to the court, I did it to the prison, I did it to health, education, and I did it to all the other bodies involved, probation, and they got it a week before their court date. She went in, walked free with no charges. So strange. She was just told to continue the probation she was already on by an English court. Do you want me to wait until you start banging?
What's that, sorry?
Do you want me to wait until you start banging?
Yeah, sorry, I just went into another room, so it's peace and quiet, that's all.
Yeah, no, I was just saying to everybody that these commercial liens do really work, and I can give you an example with my wife. I've given the example so far. A week before a court date, I liened everybody. The first and second part of a commercial lien, there's always three. And I didn't do the third one because I wanted to hope that, in court that day, things would take natural course of justice. And they kind of did, but I do feel that, these commercial liens I put in did play a little part in that. The judge never charged her with any charges. She was told that she was remanded in custody because she caused major panic at a very busy, low-resource weekend. As for the actual charges, he didn't give her any charges, not even a dismissed out-of-court charge. It was just never mentioned it. He said, carry on with your probation from the English courts. You've got 6 months left, and that'll be enough. We don't want to give you any more punishment, which is weird because she was expecting prison for up to 6 months. Second weird thing was, got home for a few days, and the mental health teams decided to get her in quickly and to do an assessment. So we're waiting this Thursday for results of that. And it'll probably mean that the pills are looked at again, other things put in place to make sure it don't happen again. Weird thing is, while all that's going on, we've got government ministers writing to us saying, look, we take responsibility. I'm not going to tell anyone about the actual operation, but there's an operation going on. Anybody who's really been involved in abuse will know this anyway, but this operation that's not well advertised. It guarantees that everybody who's been abused in an institution or by an establishment or by a person like Jimmy Savile or any other famous person or person of position, number one, they will look into the police investigation to see if they can reopen the case and bring charges against those responsible. Number two, they're going to give compensation through the Criminal Injuries Board if people have not been able to get it themselves. Number three, they've been put forward to do inquiries in their country, in this case in Scotland. So to guarantee that every child abuse victim and survivor will finally get remedy. A natural remedy, the government's now saying it's our fault, it shouldn't have happened, we'll fix it. I think that's bloody good, but I think it's something to do with commercial liens myself. I leaned on them and they, gave a bit back. You leaned on people with homeschooling and deregistered your children, and guess what? They didn't say nothing. So I think leaning, whether it's a commercial lien or just leaning in general, is what people need to do, stand up for themselves.
Yeah, I think when you send it just sends them a message as well. You're not totally incompetent and you can handle your own affairs. Because they see it like we're not capable to handle our own affairs. That's why they think we need a government to do it for us, but we really don't. The commercial liens, yeah, definitely, they definitely do something, because I sent one and then the next week they gave me a 4-bedroom property, so something definitely along the line works. But taking all that into consideration, what's the judge said, Judge Steve Curry, I think it is, what he said was very interesting about put it with the Archbishop and it goes all the way to the Vatican and put it in with the banks as well. So that's maybe how you enforce it, because I don't know if anyone's really enforced the actual lien. Not because a lot of people would do it for the money. I haven't done it for the money. I put money in there, but I didn't do it for that reason. I just did it for them to act with honour and give me what I deserve as a sovereign of this land at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Like you said, I don't think anyone's actually got any money out of it. I don't even think people have at the moment done it for the money at all. They just want to fix their problem. And it's 10 times better than a formal complaint to any organisation. You could even stand on the Queen's doorstep and beg for mercy, you know, and that wouldn't work. But commercial lien certainly does.
Yeah, exactly. It's not only that as well, they know that there's legal stuff in there. They don't want us to know, obviously, so they try and hide it as much as possible. They'll say, oh, I've never heard of that. Because I phoned up a notary and asked them if they would stamp my commercial lien, and they said, don't be so ridiculous. They don't exist in this country. They've never been enforced. I was like, well, yeah, they have. And she said, no, I'm not allowed to do that. But really, their job was to just validate the documents that I had and the signatures. That's what it was for. That's what a notary is, just to validate.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, you know, looking at a different side of it, I'm just wondering if, you know, are people getting fed up with putting paperwork in? You know, I think they're fed up because they don't know what form numbers. They're fed up because they've got to fill it in when they probably can't. You know, there are people doing it out there for them and giving them templates, but I'm just wondering if people in general are just fed up with it all and they give up too easily. Because I think we were talking before air, there's a lot of infighting going on, and like there always has been in the truth movement, but I think at the moment it's really, really big style, and that shouldn't happen at all. And the other side of it is we're being picked on by the authorities because of you know, what we do, what we know. I mean, they've put financial pressures on all the activists and the truth movement now. You know, they're stopping their signals on Skype. They're stopping their, you know, income, and they're just trying to stop it big time. What are they afraid of?
Well, they're afraid of being exposed for what they are. Corrupt, treasonous scum, to be honest with you. And that's the whole establishment, most of them anyway. There is some good MPs out there, maybe if you can find one or two, but in general, the whole government, it's all corrupt. It's all based on a fraud, isn't it? So we all know that it's corrupt whatever way we look at it. They can tell us this and that and this and that, and they're going to cut this to pay for that and cut this to pay for that, but it never works anyway. And it all goes back into the corrupt system where the child abuse and drugs, gangs and everything, it's all funded by the government in one way or another. And all the infighting is down to agents, that's what I was getting to, is down to agents that are paid for disinformation to make us all look bad, like you said. It's there to discredit people that want to know the truth, and people that want to hide the truth are the ones trying to discredit it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if anybody wants to call in, then it's 01444 390 270. US, it's 347 677 0812. But we won't let it happen though, Kevin. We can't let people discredit us. They can, you know, I've got backup systems now. They tried to, well, they didn't try. They absolutely stopped the show yesterday, and that was Mike Barker's SS Montgomery about blowing up the, you know, the fuses, or blowing up the ship anyway, because it's not safe. But yeah, they stopped that. I mean, they had to have done, because all the other shows on the network were running fine. Just that one.
Well, it's like that last show we did when we had violins in the background.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'll never forget the violins.
Yeah, the music was terrible. You know what I mean? The violins were awful, but yeah, I don't know. You know what that is? That's just like, don't want people to know that.
or heard the same old, same old.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what it is. It's cover up after cover up after cover up. And when they hear us touching on certain points that they know we're getting close, they try and close it down all the time. It's what happens. It's what's always happened. And like you said, there's a lot of infighting, but I've got a close network of people. I know like hundreds of truthers, and we're all close networks, so we know that none of us are trolls, so we all stick together. And at the end of the day, there's a few shills in there, but we've got to remember that, like I just said, they're paid by government to discredit us. There is people actually out there that blog for governments. So just think about it.
Yeah, they've made a website now called, I don't know what it's called, but I'm on there, Nilu's on there, Kevin and Annette's on there. You know, all the good people are trying to do something and being ridiculed for no reason. So obviously they're getting paid so much money to write an article about the people who are speaking the loudest. I don't think I'm speaking the loudest, but at the end of the day, I'm just doing my little bit. If it is getting their backs up, good, they shouldn't be doing it.
Well, exactly. Not only that, everyone's got an entitled to opinion. It's the world we live in. We're allowed to say whatever we want at the end of the day. Who's got any authority over me to tell me what I can and can't say and what I can and can't do? If I want to say something and do it, I'll do it. Simple as that at the end of the day. As long as I ain't causing no harm to anybody, then it doesn't really matter, does it?
Absolutely, and in all good confession boxes in all churches, I'm quite happy for a whistleblower to come on and saying, look, I repent, my friends, my brothers and sisters, and I will not, do what I've been doing. And here is why I've been doing it. They bullied me into doing it, or they promised that I'd lose my job or house. But I don't care anymore. I just want this burden off me, and that's what we encourage people to do, whistleblow.
Yeah, we encourage them to have a moral conscience, mate, something which most government officials haven't got, or most policemen haven't got. There's a few good policemen as well. Like, I'm not going to tarnish all policemen with the same brush, because there is quite a few good ones out there as well that are not happy with what's going on in this country, and there's certain situations like Mr. Crawford getting evicted from his house. That's not going to go unnoticed. Stuff's going to happen about that. Right, these people are treasonous, corrupt people. They're actually enforcing bankers' policy, which is what annoys me the most. A group of bankers that are rich, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, are making all these policies for the European Union, which was the EEC, which basically was the Nazis' party anyway. It never went anywhere. They're still here. They was here under Operation Paperclip, but that's another show. But yeah, it's just annoying, really, because they sold us off to the EU, sold off their sovereignty.
Yeah, absolutely, I did. Christine has just confirmed. We've got a reminder next Tuesday morning. That's Christina England next Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Kevin We Are Change. Basically, I'll let you know a bio. It's Christina was born and educated in London, in the UK. She left school to work in the children's library, specialised in storytelling and book buying. In 1978, Christina changed her career path to dedicate her time to caring for the elderly, and was awarded the title of Caregiver of the Year for her work with the elderly in 1980. In 1990, she adopted the first of two disabled boys, both with challenging behaviours, complex disabilities and medical needs, and in 1999 she was accused of Munchausen's by proxy. Actually, I might get the Munchausen's by proxy expert on. I know him, somebody called Dr. Baldwin. I might email him for next Tuesday. After many failed attempts to meet the boys' complex needs, she finally was cleared of all accusations after independent psychologist Lisa Blakemore Brown gave both boys a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, as part of what she described to be a complex tapestry of disorders. During the assessments, Mrs. Blakemore Brown discovered through the foster care diaries that the eldest boy had reacted adversely to the MMR vaccine. After taking an A-level in psychology and a BTEC in learning support, Miss England spent many years researching vaccines and adverse reactions. She gained a HND in journalism and media studies. She currently writes for Vax Truth, Green Med Info, and Liberty Beacon and Health Impact News on immunisation safety and efficiency, while continuing to study for a BA Honours degree in English Literature and Humanities. Her main areas of expertise are researching false allegations of child abuse and adverse reactions to vaccines. Her work is read internationally and has been translated into many languages. She's had help from Dr. Harold Buttram writing a book on vaccine-induced encephalitis and shaken baby syndrome as well. I've actually met Dr. Harold Buttram as well. She's obviously worked with Dr. Rima, a very good lady, all-rounder there, Kev. Her website is profitableharm.com and Parents and Carers Against Injustice.weebly.com. All this will be advertised a few days before next Tuesday, because Christina loves people to ask questions. So yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good show. That'd be brilliant, getting them on.
Now, just sort of let you warm in first, and then we'll get you some good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, because I've tried to get a few people on this week as well. So, but I might have some people calling in a minute about different things. So we'll have to see what.
Yeah, we'll have the show open to it can be about banking, it can be about politics, chemtrails, you name it. Just call in if you want to talk about your ground toenail. We'll try and give it a bash. 01444 390 270 in the USA and Canada. 347 677 0812. Do you know what? I think I'll get my voice recorded and then I won't have to be here.
Yeah, that's it.
It just comes natural.
Yeah, you've got a good voice.
Yeah, memory, yeah. Chat room's open if anyone wants to chat. It's freedomtalkradio.co.uk and go to the chat tab. The chat room's open. Don't need a password. Just put anything in there and we can chat in there. Yes, we've got a lovely website now. I had it given to me by God, I think. I met this guy that wanted to help. He needs a little bit of money to pay for the upkeep, but, it's only a few pounds a year. And he's just created an archive show tab, and every show now will be archived on there. So if anybody wants to download their own shows or download somebody else's show, they've listened to a show and they don't understand what they've heard, they can download the MP3 now, which will be there to read at their leisure. So yeah, it's all going good.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
Well, we do have it on our podcasts on Mixcloud, we have them on YouTube, and they are being rerun on the website as well, but sometimes people just want the file, which, it was only brought to my attention today that, maybe it'll be easier to archive them on the website, so that's what I've done.
Yeah, it's good. Really positive. I just like to click on something and get it. That's it.
Yeah, that's now we've done it that way, so they can read the description of your show. They can click live, listen live. They can download the actual clip after the fact, and in a few weeks' time, if they forgot what it was, they go and search on the search bar for it, and and that'll be
awesome.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
It's all awesome. I'm just waiting for someone to ring in. I'm just giving them the.
Well, I can start it off with Bob. Bob knows he's only got about 10-15 minutes, and you can sit and listen. But Bob's a good friend. He's been a friend for over 2 or 3 years. Bob's story is, he was in New Hampshire in the US. He was trafficked by kind of a gay guy over to Amsterdam. He's got a bit of a story, but he knows he's got to do it in short. And he's trying to basically go back home. So as I'm trying to help him there, I thought we'll help him get back home. He's got a GoFundMe account. Not that anyone's got any money, but if we can stick him on a ship somewhere soon. Oh. Hello, Bob.
Hey, buddy, how you doing, man?
Not so bad. So you've come from, you know.
Wait a minute. Let me shut this off because you're echoing. Here we go. Go ahead.
Yes, you've come obviously from the US, over to Amsterdam by your stepdad, kind of foster dad, who's abused you in all ways, shapes and forms. So, you know, that was a young part of your life. And then when you got older, you know, you came to my conference 3 years ago, I think it was now, in Skegness. And, yeah, you know, you met everybody there and from Facebook, and so that was awesome. But the amazing thing after that is, you know, after a bit of friendly advice from people and a bit of good luck, I think, from an agency that helped you find your mother. You found your biological mother. You was on national TV and radio and newspapers at the time. And now it's time to go home, isn't it? Because at the moment you're living on disability. You barely go outside to live in a wet climate, which is no good for your COPD and arthritis. When you was in America, you were going out. Sorry, when you was in America, you was outgoing and you almost got hired, didn't you? And from your website, you're an unemployed peer support worker. When you call peer support organisations in America, they welcome you with open arms. Some of us are calling into the show now. Can we delay that a minute, Kev, whoever's calling in from London?
Yeah, I've asked them, don't worry, for a little while to delay it, yeah. Just hold on and ring in about 15, 20 minutes if you can, please.
You know, they just keep calling. They can't hear you unless I connect them. Anyway, Bob, just quickly then, give us your story and what we can do for you, and, you know, a brief 10, 15 minutes, and then you can interact with the next caller.
Okay. Hi, Kevin. Pleased to meet you, sir.
You too, mate.
Yeah, Andy was fairly close, as Andy usually is. Yeah, I came here when I was 18. I was adopted by a pedophile. That's the whining part of the story, and well, Andy was one of the pioneers to my recovery of post-traumatic stress. He insisted I come to his little thing there in Skegness, and he put me on the podium, and that got rid of a lot of different anxieties in one full swoop. So that's yeah. On the one hand, I could tear them apart, and the other hand, yeah, I really appreciate that. What's going on now is a friend of mine tried to get me back stateside to start a new life, and that went haywire because I was traveling on a European passport, and he sent me a one-way ticket just to try to keep things cheap. But in Frankfurt, they said, "No can do, sir. Go home." So ever since then, we've been trying to scrape some cash together to get over there. I'm selling my beloved scooter because of that, which means once that thing's sold, there's no way back. And to make a long story short, this is not about me. It's about my helping other people. See, because peer support work does not work here in Europe, and it's you know how Europeans are. They just like complaining, and they don't want to look for solutions. So, you know, and back stateside, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually start looking for solutions and really start making a change as a peer support worker, working with private schools, and which is the next subject. So private schooling. So I have a GoFundMe thing. The suffix is WNT XEG for the people who are listening, and it's in. Andy's got that on a site, I think. Any penny, every single penny helps. And again, it's not for me; it's for the people I can help, because peer support work is huge there, and they can't wait till I get there. Andy.
Yeah, I've got an idea actually, because I know you don't like filling forms in, Bob, but you know, I said to you there was a solution, to the, to try and get the government in America to pay for what happened to you while you was living there as a child, and the solution works both in America and both in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. It does involve a little bit of thinking and a little bit of form filling, but we have a template, and tomorrow night, if you listen to the show and maybe call in, we've got Judge Steve Curry coming on, and he's backing up our friends in the UK idea of commercial salvage leaning corporations. Can you give a bit of an overview, Kev, a bit quicker than I can, what a commercial lien is? And then Bob might understand better, because I've only just recently realised what the concept is.
Yeah, it's meant to be the most potent weapon in the legal system, but they say they don't recognise them because they don't want us to know about them. But basically, what a commercial lien does is, when you put a commercial lien on a said person or corporation, all that corporation and person's assets are attached to that lien for 99 years until they either rebut everything in the affidavit that goes with that lien. And if they can't rebut everything, it becomes law, and it's like you've got a confession. I think it's after 90 days or 60 days, it becomes like a confession. So it's basically making them do what you want them to do and act with honour. That's all it basically is, but it attaches everything to it. Anything you put in it is attached to that lien. Like, you can attach their bar licence to it, and their house and their car and everything else, because if they've committed, say, for instance, misconduct in public office, their insurance is not covered for misconduct, their private insurance or their public insurance, so it doesn't cover them. So they're liable themselves, and the council don't want nothing to do with them, really, because I sent a commercial lien in and got a 4-bedroom property, as I explained earlier. So I know that something along the line, it works, believe you and me.
Wow, that sounds hopeful for some people. Kevin, this is something I'm debating, actually. On the one hand, CPS needs to pay, my adoptive father has to pay, but at the same time, I'm focusing on the people that actually need my help, need my expertise, my experience. So if I go the legal direction, will that put me in jeopardy of the government allowing me to help others?
It's a bit like saying, because I was raped, am I allowed to help others now? Just because I want compensation from you people that let it happen. No, you can have anything you want in this world. The whole idea of a lien is, in a way, to, they give you what you want and they leave you alone.
Yeah, to get remedy for your certain situation. Sorry to interrupt you. It's about your remedy. If you're not happy, you've been treated bad, you've been caused an injury, a physical harm, a physical injury, a psychological injury. So you should be able to claim whatever you want to claim for it. What is your life worth at the end of the day? And I know it's easier said than done, but we've got to try all these things, because we need to keep trying until something actually comes along and says, yeah, it's all done. We've done everything we need to do. But it's not going to get that way until people actually try and do things. I'm just one of these people that go out there and just try things. Whether I know whether they work or not, I won't know until I actually venture out and actually put it into practice. And that's what we need, brave people that can actually go out there and put it into practice. Obviously, I'm not asking everybody to do it, because certain people obviously don't want to jeopardise their futures, for instance, and they just want to carry on in their bubble, going to work and paying their bills, but it's not going to change anything.
that right there is my point. Going into things, will that jeopardize your future? Will that put anything in jeopardy? And the second question is, if somebody comes, this is your UK based. Can people from the United States join? Can people from mainland Europe join?
Yeah, because it's all commercial courts, and commercial courts is all there was run through Europe and England. They're all Admiral Maritime courts, so they're law of the sea, and that's why you've got like banks, mud bank, flow of water, cash flow, currency, your mother's birth canal. You was birthed, but you wasn't really birthed. You was born and not birthed. It's all to do with the law of the sea, because in 1666 there was a act passed when the Great Fire of London was burning, and Parliament met and passed something called the KSV Act 1666, which basically means we all got lost at sea and died. That's why we have to write in black ink block capitals, which is block capitals means you're a corporation or a dead entity, and black ink means we're all dead anyway, because black signifies death. That's why we're not allowed to write in red ink, which is the blood flow of life, and tells people that we're alive. But this is the way the law runs, and the legal system. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I was going to say, if JP won't say your name out on air because of recent issues that I'm aware of, if you want us to call you back again, we can. I pressed the add call to show button, and then you disappeared. Then you said, sorry, missed calls. I don't know what that means. Send us your home number in Skype, and I'll call you back. Can't call mobiles, unfortunately, JP. Yeah, Bob, I think it's a very simple thing, this commercial lien to do. And, I can sort of give you ideas how to do it. And once you've done it, get it checked over.
Yeah, I've got a brilliant template for him as it goes. I can send to him.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you for that, buddy.
Yeah, I've got.
I'm gonna have to scan that really, really carefully.
Put it in the group chat, Kev, and then Bob will get it. But also,
one second. Let me just, because I've got to try and find it. I've got hundreds of different things. So you have a little chat quickly, and I'll just quickly have a look for it, because it's in here somewhere. I'm just going to go through it 2 seconds.
Yeah, so I can also we have got a template on exposureestablishment.com, but if his template's better...
Well, it might be the same one, though. It might be the same one, so...
It's Nilu's template that I put on there.
Oh, yeah, I think mine is a bit different to that one, though, so... I'll just show you my one anyway, and I'll see if it's the same one. If it is, no, I'm done. And
we can go through it while we're here, unless anyone wants to call in on 01444 390 270.
Oh, yeah, sorry, go on.
I know somebody from London did call in with the end of their number being 14. If you want to call back in there, no problem. And JP, if you want to call in, we're here, ready to move forward. But we'll go through the template when you send it, because it really is dead simple, Bob. It's you put your name and your partners if they want to be involved. If you had children, you'd put them down as well. You put the reasons you're not happy. In this case, I've been kidnapped technically, but technically not. But you've been displaced from your home birthland for all these years, and you want them to fund you. You want them to, help you move forward with, employment and accommodation. I mean, because you told me about the other stuff you don't need. So you write down what you actually need, and then you email it. In this case, you would email it to the over in the UK, you email it to the heads of governments and all that, and you do the same in Amsterdam in America, and certain Series Forward offices and that. And when you when you send an email or a letter, you're actually basically you're going to purge yourself if you've been lying. This doesn't show how to do it though. Oh, yes, it does. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it does. It tells you step by step what numbers to put in there and everything, what you put in where. There's a set of numbers from 1 to 12, in a grid on there as well that tells you exactly how to fill it out, what capital letters to put where and everything. It's so easy to do.
It's a grid bit I've never seen before, and I've seen it now.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. That's the one I use, and it works. It's a really good one, honestly. And I put my own stuff in there. I actually add the 7 principles of public office in there.
Yeah, that's on exposureestablishment.com as well.
Yeah, the Nolan principles.
Yeah, I think we've all got the same information then. Just Nilu's done it in such a way that you just add literally your name, who you're going against, and then you email it to them. So the reason for doing it, of course.
Yeah. It's just whatever you think's obviously better. I just like this because I got told to send them this and don't change nothing in it because they have orgasms, and it was a member of the Assembly, the Welsh Assembly, that sent it to me.
Amazing.
But he told me that when they get that on their lap, they actually shit themselves. They're not going to let you know that they do.
And just to let everybody know, in every country in Europe and America, that if you put a form, sorry, what am I saying? No, that's when you put a form in court. These commercial liens, Bob, are not going to any court. They go to the people that you're unhappy against.
Yeah, you don't have to pay any court fees.
So there's not a fee whatsoever. The only fee is a bit of time filling it in and maybe asking a friend to check it over.
Yeah, and when you do it, do an affidavit with it. This is what I'm willing to help people. If you need any help, I'm really willing to help anyone that needs any help with it. This is what I'm saying, because I've sent quite a few of them, and I've actually sent them for other family members to deal with their own cases where they've been just took the mick out of by the local council and stuff what they work for. So I issued them a few commercial liens as well for other people. So it's all good. I do this on a daily basis. I write off people's TV licenses. This is what I do. I go into the community and help them. So
Bob, you got no excuses there, my bro. And of course, Bob Honeycutt's got a GoFundMe account if you want to stick in €1, $1, a dime. But I really think that commercial liens are the way forward. There's something that costs nothing. It embarrasses the government like mad, and you can basically ask for what you want. The basis of the UK lien, Bob, I don't know how that would work. Well, it would work the same, because remember the judge is coming on tomorrow, Bob, and he can absolutely, if you write it all down what he says or listen to the show again later, he can tell you in the US where you go, what you do, but you don't have to file it in any court whatsoever. Well, we don't in the UK. Maybe the commercial salvage liens, because I've always been busy when he's been on. Maybe the US version, you might have to put it into court, but I very much doubt it, because it's all the same, thing.
But listening to that judge, Mr. Steve Curry, he was talking about taking it all the way through to lands on the Vatican's desk and filing it with your Archbishop and the bank. That's where it's meant to be filed. I understood that when you send them, you just send them the commercial lien and that's it. But you can actually double enforce it by... Well, we'll have to find out because I'm not entirely sure. That's why.
No, there's email addresses to the Vatican. There's email addresses to, the president.
Yeah, exactly.
President's office. I mean, I sent an email somewhere from my wife on a commercial lien, and it was probably to, I don't know, maybe an MP or maybe the Police and Crime Commissioner for the area. But it landed on some minister's desk. I've already said that, told Bob, and I haven't given any details, Bob, because your advice was good. But I have said, look, these things do work, and I got an operation now to help my wife. And she only got it that way, Bob, because I put one of his liens in. So in the UK, you say, look, the country's bankrupt. They've been bankrupt since the year, but this is not relevant to you anyway. And they're bankrupt by so many trillions of dollars or pounds, but you just do the relevant thing for your country, and you send it to Queen Queen. I mean, you sent it to the, the people in Amsterdam, Holland. So tomorrow night's show, we can go into that a bit more, and you need your listening ears on. But now we're going to call JP in. It's a good source of conversation. You can chirp in, Bob.
Hello?
Hello, JP. How are you doing?
Oh, hi, Andy. I'm good. Yeah, sorry about that. I had viruses on both my laptops.
Oh.
And as I reloaded, I accidentally called you by mistake. So I don't even know what's going on with the show.
No, what it is, we've got injured.
Oh, hello?
Yeah.
Just sitting in and out, me.
Yeah, perfect. Kevin?
I tell you what, this last week I've had a lot of problems. Now, I don't know if you're still talking, but just now you were cutting. Hello? Andy?
Yeah, I'm here, so I was waiting for Kevin to talk.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out as if there's a loose wire. So I don't know what's happening.
Kev, can you
Yeah,
talk?
I was going to talk, but I was just trying to...
Now I can hear someone else. I can hear someone else talking as well, but they're cut up. So...
Do you want to try?
It's probably this end. Troubles. A lot of trouble. I don't know me, but basically, the last 2 days, fixing mics, spoken to other people that have also on their phone lines, and it appear that I'm knackered as well. So, if you can still hear me, I'm going to have... I don't know what's going on in the background. So, maybe I'll speak to you later. Cheers.
That was a bit strange.
Yeah, the world is strange.
Oh, that was well strange. What's going on there? You there, Rand?
So yeah, the world is strange, as well as people. I thought he called in actually to I'll ask him to try Skype. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Well, onwards and upwards then. If anybody else wants to call in, I thought he did, but never mind. It's 01444 390 270.
Excuse me.
Yeah, what you got to say, mate?
What's that, sorry?
What you got to say then?
Oh, well, I'm just trying to get someone to call in at the end of the day, so...
Right, on the line now, we've got Jules, our friend.
Yeah, it's because I was trying to get quite a few people on tonight, but they're all prior engagements.
Hello, guys.
Hello, mate. Loud and clear you are. JP wasn't so loud and clear. No, sorry, he was loud and clear, but he couldn't hear us, so... Yeah,
no, he was, we've all been, myself, JP and Patrick Cullinan and Mr. Setchfield have all had our communications hit badly in the last couple of days.
We know, don't we, Jules, that at the moment, I mean, Kevin will probably agree, that the people involved with them three names you've just mentioned, they're the biggest noises in the UK at the moment. They work with the biggest noises. So no wonder they've got communication problems. Our show last night, remember, we had 400 shares and we couldn't log in last night.
No. It's definitely the more we're talking about the things they don't want us to talk about, the more we seem to be being hit.
I think we got JP on now. He sounds loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Oh,
We
good.
can hear you, John.
There's, I've had problems with the internet, problems with the phone line as well for the first time, but I've managed to get both my laptops up and running for 16 quid with the software that I downloaded. I've never had to use it before, but I phoned McAfee up, and they done a remote control, a remote access, and they saw all sorts of problems, conflicts, registry problems.
Well, I could have done that for nothing.
Well, no, they wanted £95, but then I found a way around it for 16, so everything's up and running.
You realise, my friend, you're live, yeah?
Say again?
You realise you're live on air?
Oh, okay. Well, as I say, I called you by mistake, so I didn't know what's going on.
We've got Kevin, we are change here.
Oh, Kevin, how you doing, mate?
How you doing? You all
Good,
good?
good.
Good to hear some friendly voices.
Yes, I mean, Julian's there, Kevin's there, Andy's there. I see there's a Robert.
Yeah, call him Bob. Bob's from
Bob.
Bob's from Amsterdam, and he's been, when he was younger, was trafficked via the care system to Amsterdam. So,
Okay.
So hello, Bob. Should we call you JP or John?
JP's good.
Yeah, JP. Justice of the peace.
Well, no, what happened when I worked on the ships? There were 4 Johns in the casino.
I'll just say hi to y'all.
When someone said John, everybody turned around. So we had to adopt nicknames. And ever since then, I've been JP, which is my initials.
I'll just say hi to y'all. I ain't gonna use no names. We all get. Big Brother is definitely watching us. Hi to different.
Well, I was contacted by the grandson of a very famous MP, and he told me, and I have no reason to disbelieve him, that his grandfather used to work for the Rothschilds. And I'm meeting him next week. So there's been all sorts of people contacting me. I think what it is, they've seen
might just need to correct that, John. You might be meeting him sooner.
Yes, well that's good. I'll tell you why, Julian, because he saw me inside East Sussex Police Station where I exposed Police Crime Commissioner Katie Bourne. And it just so happened he'd been after the same people, completely independent from me. And we spoke about him. He's got videos up on YouTube. And then I heard that Katie Bourne was stepped down. So, I mean, we're having a big impact. Unfortunately, David Cameron's still there, so is Tony Blair. But they won't last long.
Not for long.
No.
Yeah, the gentleman you're talking to, John, has been phoning me today. He's one of the people that's been telling me that my telephone number has disappeared. And all my contacts have disappeared as well. So.
What was the first thing, Jules, when I first met you? I gave you some scenarios. What happens when somebody who's as clever as you, because you've self-taught yourself a trade, because of your knowledge, you will be targeted. And
yeah, I did say that.
And here we go. We're being targeted.
Yeah. Well, I can't.
I find it a compliment because these people are so scared of us. They pull these stupid strokes, and it doesn't stop us. It just attracts more attention. Because
exactly, they just know you're onto something and getting close. That's it. We got them on their toes. They're on the run. That's it.
It's like all these. They have these banned TED videos, and everyone watches the banned ones because if ever they're trying to shut you up or ban something, it always attracts more attention. And do you know what? Sometimes I honestly think the good guys are deliberately doing this because they know it's going to draw more attention. Do you see how it can work?
It's like a publicity stunt.
It's like the reverse false flag. Yeah?
Yeah.
So in fact, we're not actually being hindered, we're being helped. Because now everybody knows that we're all being targeted. And they don't target you for just blowing a whistle on someone dropping a piece of chewing gum in the street. Do you see what I'm saying? This is, to me, I find it a compliment because, okay, it's messed me up for 2 days, it cost me 16 quid, but it's worth it. You know, it proves what we've all been saying. And it's not just me. I was probably the last one because everyone was telling me about this, and I'm thinking, no, it's a virus, it can't do that. I've never been attacked. And then within a few days, I'll tell you what happened. I took down my new Toshiba, and I put up my second-hand one, which I've had for 10 years, which has been completely restored and wiped clean and redone. And within 20 minutes, I had exactly the same virus on it. Yeah? So there you go. And both computers, and I've spent 2 days getting them back to normal. I still haven't got a picture up on Skype because I had to reload Skype again. And I still haven't finished all the fine details, so you've just got a blue screen there instead of my handsome face, unfortunately.
I've actually got Andy to thank for making my computer impregnable, so thanks for that, Andy. It's worked much better since.
Yeah, we just got to know which software to have and how to do it and do it regular.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, nobody pays any money nowadays, and the biggest advice I would give anyone, if you've ever had any spam come into your normal inbox, because some of these email filters do filter them, but if they don't, make sure that you mark them as spam and never open a spam email and never open anything that goes straight into the bin, just leave it.
Yeah.
Even if it is from a friend, because it's a sign that your computer's telling you it's got a virus.
Yeah.
But if you get 360 all-in-one security, it's actually it pops up straight away as you're being attacked. And if you get one of these IP address, I can't remember what it's called now, but if anyone's compromising your IP address, you can see where they're coming from, their IP.
Oh, okay.
And they suggest with telephone lines, because the telephone line being faulty will actually affect your broadband. And I always, you know, every now and again, even if I'm not having problems, because I'm paying for it, I ring up Sky or BT saying, I can hear crackling on the line. I can hear people talking about something. And they have to investigate it because you're paying them. And if nothing else, what they do is reset your phone line quickly, you know, and take all the cookies off that. And then your broadband works better.
Well, you see, the thing is, I mean, my BT package came with free McAfee. Now, whatever got into my computer got through the virus system.
Well, McAfee and Norton are the two worst things you can ever have, mainly because they got something to do with Skype and Microsoft Manager.
Okay.
Yeah. Those. Well, Andy Cameron explained the other thing to me. All my computer problems have stopped since I've taken Norton antivirus off my computer. The other thing as well, it was actually during talking about who owned Skype with Claire and with Gordon Bowden the other evening. When we got cut off 7 times through transmission, and whether that was just another coincidence, I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it's much of a coincidence because when we was on my radio show 2 weeks back, they was playing violins for it. So.
That was the strangest thing you ever heard. Violins playing in the background on live listen.
Yeah, and they just didn't want us talking about what we was actually talking about. We were talking about certain MPs and stuff. Yeah, maybe they didn't want people to hear that.
Talking of MPs, I've emailed Zach Goldsmith, and I told him that I read out a statement on his behalf on the 11th of April outside the Houses of Parliament, and I was very impressed with his exposure on 60 Minutes, and would he like to know about, and then I gave him a whole list of stuff that must have blown his mind. Now, I obviously didn't get a reply, but I know someone's read that email, so I phoned back 2 days later, and I got his office, I got the answering machine, and it was a young lady called Charlotte. And she said she was at the office, and I can leave a message or send an email. So I said, blah, 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 John Patterson, I said, please check your junk mail, because I sent a very important letter. It's of national importance. Please check your junk mail and confirm if you've received this message. Now, I still never got a reply. Now, that's good, because they've had an email and a phone call. So I know they've got it. The following day, on Press TV, David Cameron had done a complete U-turn and said that he wanted an investigation into the paedophile rings, and it doesn't matter how high it goes. Now, that could be a coincidence, but I've still got a third and final option. The next time I call, I'm going to actually speak to her in person and ask her why I never got a reply from the email, and did she get the voicemail to check if the email had been received. So basically, Zach Goldsmith's office, his secretary, Charlotte, and Zach Goldsmith now know everything about Gordon Bowden's research. And I've still got here the statement by him that I read out in the outside the Houses of Parliament. There's evidence. So I'm not making this up.
No, exactly. No one's making most of it up.
Did
the government made...
Sorry, did you see the 60-minute on Westminster paedophiles with Zach Goldsmith? Has anybody seen that yet?
No.
Yes, I have. Yeah,
I've
only watched the first 2 parts, but it is good.
It's an Australian 60-minute. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And there's Zach Goldsmith. He's going for him. And don't forget who Zach Goldsmith is.
What's good is they mention such things as Dolphin Square and all the other sort of pre-mentioned and reconfirm the people that have been referring to their own experiences. So,
but you know who Zach Goldsmith is, Julian?
Bill Ringham.
Okay. He is the brother of
Hello?
Sorry, guys, we've got a caller on the line from the London area. Hello, John. Sorry, JP's talking. We've got Julian here and Kevin. We are change. What's your name?
Hi, Tracy.
Tracy. Hello, Tracy.
Hello.
Should we let JP finish first? This is interesting stuff.
Yeah, so basically, I've still got the letter here that I read out. It was handed to me. The person who was supposed to read it never turned up. And I just went along. I met Bill Maloney there. I had a picture taken with him. It was a good day. And then someone just said, would you mind reading this out? And the next thing I was on camera, and I read it out, and I thought, Zach Goldsmith, where have I seen that name before? And then it struck me the following day. It was the Greg Hallett exposure. Now, if you see a photo of Zach Goldsmith and Princess, well, if you look at the 60-minute with Zach Goldsmith speaking, you can see it's her brother. So he knows what happened to his sister, and he's out. He's going after him, and I've got a letter here to prove everything I'm saying is fact. So I'm looking forward to phoning their office again.
Can we just recap on this, Diana? How she did die, then, just for the listeners.
Well, it was an unlawful killing. Now, when the royals kill someone, this is what they call it, and that's what it was. It was an unlawful killing.
It's probably. Go on, sorry, Kevin.
Oh, no, I was just going to say something because we did some research on that. Obviously, I don't know. Obviously, like quite a lot of people know, but quite a lot of people don't. And apparently, so Zach Goldsmith is related to Kate Middleton's mum, so that makes them Goldsmiths, the Middletons, which one of them is Diane's stepsister, which makes them already related anyway, so...
And all, if I think rightly, they're all related somehow or got links with the Rothschilds, which makes them all gold diggers rather than gold.
Well, yeah, because John Goldsmith is actually the uncle of, if I'm not mistaken, Kate Middleton. And he was meant to have been on that Epstein's island, you know, that billionaire Epstein.
What's happening? I'll tell you what's happening. And this I got this through Professor George Lees. He's a neuroscientist, knows his stuff. A lot of these elite families, their kids, their children, a lot of them are on, they're drug addicts, alcoholics, they're on very expensive, they're under psychiatrists. And what's happening is, this new generation, they're going online, they're finding out who their grandparents are and how they're related. And what can they do? It's all in the family. They have to live with it. But these are huge families, and as they're having kids and they're growing up and finding out what their families are like, I mean, how would you feel if you've done a bit of research one day and you found out that your grandfather was a mass murderer, and the estate you were living in is through the death of probably millions of people.
Well, it's like that little girl in America that actually spent the whole summer with her granddad doing the family tree and realised that every single president, barring one of the United States, was actually related. And they're all related to David Cameron, they're all related to Vlad the Impaler. Everyone you can literally think of through history, they are actually related to. It's the bloodline.
Sorry, JP, does Tracy want to comment on this, or does she have another issue to raise?
Yeah, I have another issue to raise, which I really need to raise here tonight, and this is why I've called in, Andy, to be honest.
Okay, do you want to carry on, JP, for now, or should we hear Tracy's issue?
Oh, I'd like to listen to Tracy. Thank you, Tracy.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi. The reason why I've called into the show tonight is because I'm actually very angry, Andy. I'm actually very angry at the way Belinda, Mackenzie and Sabine have been discredited with the Hampstead children and the ongoing case. I've worked very closely with this from I came here a month ago, and I have watched and I have witnessed Belinda working flat out along with others, a lot of people going to the Royal Court of Justice, people sitting in the hearing of the appeal for it to be adjourned, and from what I know and from what I've been listening to, taken from other people, a lot of people's very angry. A lot of people's very angry at Ella and Abraham completely blanking Belinda and completely blanking Sabine, and basically and bad-mouthing them, discrediting both of them. They are actually with somebody who keeps emailing Sabine and Belinda. The emails that they're being sent. Can I just read one of them out to you?
Yeah, please, Tracy.
This is from someone called DRIF Floyd at highsmail.com. Belinda Mackenzie, I received your latest email to Ella and have been asked by Ella to comment on it. After reading, I first thought it must be some kind of practical joke from you. Actually, I'm still not sure it isn't. In short, your letter to Ella can be summed up in one word, and in capital letters he has desperation. But I have commented on what you have written in order to highlight the ideas you wish to convey, paragraph by paragraph. Now, the only thing was there is that Belinda and Sabine, had basically asked Ella, to stand up for her children, to come back to the UK. The appeal is taking place on the 4th of August. Then the children's final hearing starts on the 6th of August. Now, if Ella realised and sat and really opened their eyes to what is going on here. If I was those children's mother, I would be straight on that plane back here, because there is no court in this country, there's no court on this planet is going to give her any type of access to your children or any type of custody. Because courts only rule access and custody to the parents if they are a responsible parent.
And you also have to be in the jurisdiction as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But we have Belinda McKenzie, we have Sabine McNeil, being discredited, people trying to destroy them, people tell a load of lies about them, and Ella included, and Abraham. We actually have, I have listened to really interviews, this last maybe 3, 4, 5 interviews I've had, discrediting people, discrediting Belinda and discrediting Sabine. And these are two people who, first of all, this happened to Ella's children. She flees the country, which she had every right to do in February, because in my eyes, and from all the research I've done and the evidence that I have before me, if Ella hadn't fled the country in February, she would have most certainly either been in prison, been in an institution, and nobody would know where she was. Abraham would have probably been found mysteriously dead somewhere, yeah. And the children would have been well gone. Now, she had a right to run then. She has had great support from hundreds of thousands of people. And what is stopping her from getting on that plane and coming back to the UK, where she has got people supporting her? Now, if I was the mother of these 2 children and I had to flee, and I knew it was time to come back to face the music, because there was 2 very serious court hearings taking place here very soon. If that was me as a mother, I would be straight on that plane and coming back.
In reply to that, I mean, if you're going to lose your kids anyway, and you're going to probably still get arrested, is she still thinking maybe that?
Well, Andy, do you know what? If that was me as a mother, I wouldn't be sitting in some beach at the other end of the world. I would do it for my prison cell. I would walk into a police station. I would demand to be arrested. I would demand to be charged with the abuse of my children. Because by demanding to be charged with the sexual abuse of my children, it means that it will be brought straight back into the full public domain, the mainstream media, and it means a full trial would have to take place to eliminate me.
Tracy, you've got a very good point. But just for the record, so I can't talk when someone else is talking.
Sorry, say that again, Andy.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't talk. I want to make it on public record that, there's loads of stories going around about Sabine. There's loads of stories going about Belinda. Now, they are not the orchestrators of anything bad here. They might be misled by other people, but I can tell you, and I've not talked to Belinda for months, but I know in my heart Belinda McKenzie, she's 100 million% just doing the best for people. Sabine McNeil, I don't know that much, but yeah, she's made a couple of mistakes. Everyone does.
Well, Sabine actually didn't, because I got the whistleblower today. I got the whistleblower today who actually leaked the videos in November 14th.
I'm not talking about this. I'm saying Sabine, in her life, she's made a couple of mistakes, like we all have.
Yeah.
But now every good thing she does, she keeps getting the same bush thrown at her. So I'm trying to defend them both, actually.
Yeah.
And where this Hampstead case comes in, Tracy, do you believe, I mean, obviously it's a silly question, but do you believe that the mum and the boyfriend, hadn't, it's genuine, the kids were genuine, and the mum and stepdad wasn't involved at all?
They were not involved, 100%. I've seen the medical evidence. I've read the medical evidence. Abraham came into those kids' lives in the May. Now, when you're being medically examined by a doctor for signs of abuse, it is stated that these children were abused over a long period of time. Now, I can assure you, I've known when the abuse of my own daughter took place, she hadn't been sexually abused in 2 years. And when the medical evidence, we had the medical evidence that day, and I was sat down with two doctors. Now, when Gabriel and Elisa was medically examined, I don't think they sat the mother down. The mother should have been with them when they were medically examined. When my daughter was medically examined, I was with her. I was with her while she was medically examined. Then she was taken from the room, and I was sat down by two doctors who told me and explained to me in every specific detail of when my child was abused, when the last time she was touched. She hadn't been touched in 2 years, and we were away from her abuser for 2 years. Now, these paediatric consultants are very, very aware of even long periods of time when a child's been abused. These children were abused over many years. Many years. These children had long-term abuse. So, under no certain terms could Abraham be the abuser. Now, people would love, the police would love, the satanic cult ring, Ricky Dearman, all of them would love for Abraham, for it to be put on him. But unfortunately, for them, that's not going to be the case. Now, I had a meeting for 4.5 hours today. I was away all day with Belinda. I have brought in people. I brought in my people, the people who I work with, and I have handed over a lot of evidence today. A lot of evidence, which is going to other people who haven't seen this evidence. And we are going to make sure that this evidence is fully investigated. Now, what we want to do is go after Ricky Dearman. He is the main person, the role player in this.
Can I remind people at that point, sorry, I have to keep butting in because my memory's good. Can I tell everybody, it's only been the last couple of days, but it has been out there since February. Ricky Dearman is advertising to do house sitting in Los Angeles, and we think this is where he's going to run once I'm not saying he may win custody, I'm actually saying he will win custody, because this is how satanic cults work.
Yeah, he's actually, Sabine has been on to that, and Sabine has been on to the agency where he is advertising, and the agency is in the process of having him investigated. So whatever little advertisement Ricky's putting up to babysit people's children and, to do their washing and their cleaning and their cooking, we've seen it all. I read it all today. That's not going to happen.
Walking the dogs, that's even insane.
Yeah. Walking the dogs, what for? To chop their heads off?
No, you know what's going to happen though? I mean, it's very logical what's going to happen there. He's going to look after people's houses and do all them chores, and the only reason for that is he can live rent-free from one job to the other while he's carrying on with his abuse of his own children.
And while he's also trying to groom other families along to bring them into the cult or to abuse their children. That's why he's doing that advertisement. He wants to be the babysitter. I mean, this guy, brought his children out into public areas, and we're bringing them into the disabled toilets for a tickle. It was tickle time. Now, this is this man was doing. So who in the right mind would want somebody like that taken out? See, if I seen that man, if that man had applied for a job and I was looking for a nanny and that came to my door, under no certain terms would I even let his foot through my door, because one look at him tells me he is dangerous.
Well, I know a couple of activists come truth people in LA. You never know. Karma might come back when it's not recognised. Yeah. Tracy, what we're saying then really is, if Ella and Abraham's done nothing wrong,
No, they haven't done anything wrong.
At this last hour, guys, come back home, play some music, because one day, and this is where I've got it now, 5 minutes later, I've got it. One day, at least the children will know that you try to, do your bit on the very last important moment in court, even if you have been arrested when you entered the country.
I would like to ask mothers in this radio or people that could phone in. If you're a mother and this happened to you and you had to flee the country and you knew there was hundreds and hundreds of people behind in UK supporting you, and you knew, now I have offered, if Sabine and Ella are able to come back, if Ella will stand by Sabine's side, get on that plane and come to the airport, I will have a journalist, I will have politicians, and I will have people at that airport, along with myself, along with Belinda, and I will make sure if they don't come through that airport and they're arrested, then we have the right people in place to prove that these two women have been arrested on the spot because they're afraid. Because the police, that Judge Porphyry, I have put out an statement. She has to be part of this ring. She has to be. Now, the evidence I handed over to people today were astounded at what Porphyry rejected. They cannot believe it. The medical evidence that they read today completely shocked them.
Can I ask quickly about Judge Porphyry? Now, was she in the local court or was she at the RCJ?
The Royal Court of Justice.
In the RCJ, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, aren't judges allocated at random, rather than judges picking the case?
Well, we're not really sure because we all know how much corruption goes on in the court. I'd love to say either, but really, I suppose they do get some sort of say if they want to take a case or not. I don't know.
That is the case, Kevin, yeah, because in Belfast there was a particular case I was working on where 3 children should have been removed from their mother's care because they were being abused by the partner who was beating them. And I went to every extreme. I went down every avenue through the police, begged them to go in, and I was made to hand these children over at 9 o'clock at night in a gas station on the Lisburn Road. To hand them over to these 2 police officers. I handed these children over at 9 p.m. at night, and at 6 minutes past 9, the children only live practically round the corner for where I dropped them off to the police. The social services demanded I put them back into the mother's care. Within 6 minutes of them children going into the mother's care, we have recordings of them children being verbally and emotionally abused. The mother screaming down phones, and the police refused to do anything about it. So the next day, we went to the courts and we tried to get these children's aunts to get into the court to get them as emergency protection order put in place because the police refused to do it, and so did social services. But what the social services didn't realise and the police didn't realise, that I was well known in the family courts in Belfast, and I was well known by a judge who rips social services and social workers to shreds. When she sees corruption and collusion, she nails their ass to the wall. Now, I sat down on the computer and I wrote a big letter to this judge. I put the recordings onto a CD of these children being abused 6 minutes after they were put into their mother's care. I went down to the family court. I went into the offices and I begged for that to go urgently to this judge, who I don't want to name, and to tell her what was going on. Within 2 days, I received a call from the judge's secretary. I also got in contact with the chief of police, the head Time Baxter, who is the chief of police over there, and I emailed her and told her what was happening. She got another police officer involved to call me and to tell me that to basically try and sort of push me away. And she didn't know, none of them knew that I'd sent this letter and this recording to the judge. Now, this police officer sat on the other end of the phone trying to sort of frighten me. She didn't know who I was and what I stood for and what work I'd done. And she had said to me, do you realise, if you come in here and you make a statement, do you realise this could end up in court? And I said, this is already in court. And she said, oh, I can assure you it's not. I said, oh, I can assure you it is. I can assure you this is before a judge. And she says, I can assure you it's not. And I says, well, I can assure you it is. Now, if you ring the Belfast Family Courts, I said, you have to speak to such and such, she will tell you. She has this evidence in her hands. She didn't believe me. She rang the courts and she rang me straight. But I realise you have give Judge blah 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 this evidence. Yes, I've been just told by her PA. Would it be possible? Could I ring you back tomorrow and get you in to make that statement? I says, God, you changed your tune. I says, well, I'll stand in a book of Bibles. I says, don't ever think I'd be afraid to stand to give evidence in a court of law where children are being abused. I says, because you're very, very much mistaken. I will stand in a book of Bibles. So this whole investigation went on. So these people try and scare people. They try and scare you away from the truth. And at the end of the day, if that was me, as a mother, I would be on that plane. I wouldn't care who arrested me. I wouldn't care if they beat the life out of me and threw me in a cell. Because I would know people on the outside know where I am, and people on the outside are helping me fight for my children. And she doesn't know how lucky she is. Ella doesn't realise how lucky she is. And from my own research, and lately over these interviews that they've been doing, your man Abraham is completely controlling her. Now, in my eyes, and lots of other people's eyes, and I want to make this very clear to Ella, she She is showing a completely different picture here, and people are starting to state that she is putting him and her needs over the needs of her children. Now, if she doesn't come back here and she doesn't fight for her children, she might as well wave goodbye and she might as well stop doing the video interviews, because we are not interested in hemp. And I want to make something very clear to Abraham. Abraham, shut the hell up about your hemp. When we are on the radio, people's on the radio trying to find out information on her children, and all you get out of Abraham is hemp oils. And the last radio interview I listened to for 45 minutes, he went on about these hemp oils. I actually turned off. I switched off. Because when people are interviewing them, it should be solely about the children, about what has happened, and about what they're doing about it in order to protect these children and to get these children back. Well, up to now, Ella is doing absolutely nothing. Neither is Abraham, because he's too interested in rebuilding his hemp and promoting his business. And it's all about Abraham. Well, I'm afraid it's not. And all right, nobody wants to hear about Abraham and his hemp. I'm making that very clear. Now, Travis people have asked me to come on here tonight and make it very clear. They do not want to hear about Abraham and his hemp. They want to hear Ella, and they want to hear about her and what she's actually doing to get her children back.
Yeah, Tracy, I don't know if Sabine will be listening, but is Sabine with Ella, or at least, they're both aboard?
Sabine, Ella refuses to speak to Sabine. She does not answer any of her emails. They are discrediting her. They're saying nasty things about Sabine, and they're also saying nasty things about Belinda. They're also accusing Belinda of being an MI5 agent.
So that don't make sense, really, to me anyway, because I'm a bit daft anyway, but it doesn't make sense that poor Belinda, poor Sabine is nearly killing themselves to help a woman get her children back who won't actually communicate with them. What's going on there?
Because they are now blaming Belinda and Sabine for leaking the videos. Well, let me make myself very clear. I have a statement of evidence coming through that Sabine did not release them videos. There is a man who is coming forward. He released the videos in November. He's seen the videos. He hacked in. He got into documents. He's seen the videos of Elisa and Gabriel. He was so shocked that he right away posted them on Facebook. And it was after 1 a.m. in the morning. Now, anybody can sit at your end, and Ella and Abraham, and call me a liar. Now, the people who I was with today know people who run Facebook. Now, this man stated that he released these videos in November 14. He said that when he went to bed after 1 a.m., he released the videos. He got up the next morning. His whole Facebook was shut down, and it was removed. So it already went viral by the next morning when he got up. Now, this man has had visits from the MI5 agents, coming and sort of threatening him his last couple of years. Every time he puts up a Facebook account or he exposes anybody, that closes his account down. Now, I got this man by off chance because a few days ago I was contacted by somebody near Kent, a single mother with 3 children who lives in Kent. This mother had to flee because a certain detective this is a lady detective, a DC is going about the Kent area. She is targeting single parents. She is getting into play areas like the soft play areas in the shopping malls, the parks, anything that's going on in the community concerning kids, mothers and toddlers. She's in there with her own 2-year-old daughter. And this DC is coming in. She's a DC or DS. I haven't got the paperwork with me. She's coming in, and she befriended this mother. She's seen her emotional one day and seen her a bit upset, so she come over to her. Now, this mother does not feed her children anything else other than fruit, and they're vegetarian. Okay, so she would give her children vegetarian meals and give her children plenty of fruit. And because of this DS went to the social services, reported her that she wasn't neglecting her children and that they live in nothing else other than fruit, and she has serious concerns. Now, the social worker rang the mother, told her she wanted to come and do a home visit. The mother told her she wasn't welcome, that there was no reason. Then they dropped the bombshell that this DS had reported that she's neglecting her children. And the mother stated, "You're not welcome on my home." And they said, "Well, we will be at your home tomorrow. And if you're not, we'll be at your home tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. There is going to be an emergency child protection conference on Monday the 27th at 2 p.m. And if you're not there, the consequences will follow. And if you're not there in your home on Friday at 10 a.m. in the morning, the consequences will follow." So at 10 a.m. on Friday, the mother was away. Now, family members and other people in the area made her aware that 3 social workers came to her door. 3 of them. So the social worker started phoning her, and this mother refused to answer her phone. So they phoned her mother, and they phoned her sister, and made it very clear that if she didn't contact the police by 4 p.m. that day, that they were getting that the police would now be involved in looking for her and her children. So this mother in desperation got in contact with me. She made me aware of what was going on, and I know where she is. I told the mother to demand the email address of the social worker and refused point blank to speak with her on the phone at any time. The social worker gave her the email address, her email, and the mother, just plain and straight, put a straight email to her stating that she wouldn't be talking to her by phone, that she wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. There is no concerns whatsoever with her children. And about the meeting that's taken place, she was totally, did not consent to any of this. So I don't think she's received an email back. She also told them that she was in London, that she was with me, and she was with other legal bodies, and that we were getting this policewoman, this DS, seriously investigated, along with the social workers who have came on board and has tried to come in. And then they phoned her mother and said, "I believe your daughter had a bit of mental illness in 2013. She smoked cannabis in 2013. Do you think she has serious mental health issues due to smoking this cannabis in 2013? And the mother says, "No, my daughter doesn't have mental health issues at all." Now, they're doing their dirty work. They're ringing the mother, and they're ringing the sisters, and they're trying to make it out that the mother is mentally unstable, and this DS plays a major role. So I'm having her investigated into. I'm finding out who she is and how many other mothers in the Kent area who she's targeting. And God forgive her, how dare she bring her own child into play areas to have for a cover-up.
Anyway, Tracy, we're going a little bit off subject, but not really, but we are a little bit.
So this girl has been hit. This man's hiding this woman. He's protecting her and her 3 children. So when I called him on Sunday to find out if it was okay for her to stay there, remain there until I get the proper investigations in place to make sure it's safe for her and her children to go home, he asked me what kind of work I was doing and what I was doing here. And I told him at the moment I was working on the Halstead case. And he went, "Oh, right. I was the one that leaked the videos." I said, "Sorry, you leaked the videos when?" So I didn't get the exact time when he leaked the videos. So I called him back today. I said, "When did you leak the videos?" And he says, November 2014. And I said, "November?" And he says, "Yes, November 2014. And I says, "Please, can you give me that in evidence? Can you give me that in writing? Can you please do a statement of evidence?" He says, "That's not a problem. I will not just do a statement of evidence. I will come to you. You can interview me, and I will come forward because Sabine did not leak." He can't believe that Sabine has been out of the country for months because she was accused of leaking these videos. He actually feels bad. He actually feels really bad about it. And he said he's coming forward. And I'm just waiting on the a statement of evidence coming through. So, believe you me, one way or the other, I'm bringing Sabine home where she belongs.
Tracy, can we listen to Jules now? Because Jules he's done quite a lot of research over the months into psychology. And the question I would ask him, he's going to sort of talk about Sabine and Belinda first, the discrediting. But can you let us know a little bit, if you can, the insight into what Ellen must be thinking and the boyfriend, and the reason why they wouldn't be coming back? He's done the psychology training, self-taught. Jules.
Well, I mean, there's quite a few things to kind of cover really on there, guys. But going back over kind of what Trace has gone over, and the sort of the emphasis of the discrediting of Sabine and of Belinda. And what I wanted to kind of reiterate here is anything to do with child abuse has got the child abusers and the people that are protecting child abuse, especially in authorities and stuff like that, work on a very manipulative level. Now, one of the first things that they turn around and do, and they don't just do this with sort of in a corporate venture. It's done on a psychological abuse basis of the authorities with anything to do with abuse, to do with fraud, anything to do with reporting miscellaneous death or accidents, basically run through a system with whistleblowers, and this includes authority members, but they work for a basis of doing discrediting, banishing and silencing these different individuals. They work on a psychological breaking down basis, and that involves intimidation. It does include up to the extent of death threats, if need be, to get these three principles turned around and put in place. And basically, the lies, false accusations, fabrication of reports, making the person out to be seen as an abuser themselves, making them out to be a psychological or psychiatric mental concern. They will turn around and discredit someone with a professional they will turn around and write a report which will say they're hearing voices, they're delusional. These are standard practices, and they are echoing right the way through the family courts regarding the parent who's reporting their child as being abused. And this is the coherent thing: is courts are placing children into the homes of the abuser, because they know that abusers are pathologically more manipulative, they're more resentful, they're more likely to actually be vindictive towards professionals, and this is the case in all the cases I've come forward to. When there has been a narcissistic, and I use narcissistic in relevance to psychopathic, sociopathic or narcissistic parenting, the child is placed with those parents because they know pathologically they can't be controlled, they are controlling people, and they will avoid placing the children with an empathic, loving parent in those predicaments. And the same dynamic is exactly here at this moment. Anybody who's reporting the abuse, anybody who's been abused, and this is what Trace has already reiterated with the police officer that she spoke to, immediately they go through the gatekeepers who are designed to turn people away, who will turn around and make intimidating suggestions that, how dare you turn around and report this? Do you realise you can get into trouble with this? So basically that's the first line of defence. The second line of defence is, this person isn't going away. Okay, then we need to turn around and make some viable threats. When they don't back down again, they then go through let's discredit this person, let's turn around and make them look bad. Let's turn around and anybody that sits there and says, the social workers, they do a good job, who are in that bliss of never having dealt with them. You're talking an 80% population sort of deficit, which goes against you, and you're sitting there thinking, who's going to believe little old me in comparison to the social services? And 80% of the population are going to sit there and think, I am crazy, or I am aggressive, or I am unstable or mad. And these things are what echoes through all cases to do with child abuse, and with these satanic abuse rituals, anything to do with the emphasis on what's going on with child pornography, the stuff that's going through governmental stuff, is when you add in these manipulative and psychologically abusive people who do this kind of thing, they are the first to turn around and jump on the case and get something dismissed, and it's a whole lot easier to get rid of the person reporting this, or whether they be the abused or the whistleblower, than it is to turn around and involve an investigation, to involve child abuse, with the links that go on with the paedophile rings and stuff like that. Is before they know it, they've got a massive investigation on their hands, and rather doing what they should be doing, it's put to them, let's get the case dismissed, let's get it disappeared. We'll get everyone to work that a little bit harder into that kind of niche of cognitive dissonance, where people turn around and say, well, there's nothing I can do, and everyone carries on.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but Sabine and Belinda are directly in the firing line for this, because they do such good work, because they are stood there day in, day out, in all weathers outside the Royal Courts of Justice, bless them. When they become renowned for doing good work and supporting innocent people, and the authorities turn around and do this, they are going to spend money to turn around and pay somebody, and these people are freely available to turn around and discredit Sabine and Belinda, and the dynamics of what goes on. It shows that even through Facebook now, you've got the MOD and authorities that are paying people to become trolls on Facebook. So there are these agents, shills, all these kind of situations, that where people are about there. And it wouldn't surprise me if someone is paying people to cause triangulations, which is otherwise known as divide and conquer, to discredit, discredit these guys. And as shameful as it is, I hate to say it, it echoes everywhere you look with child abuse.
Yeah, do you agree with me? Sorry, do you agree with me, Jules, that this man who is discrediting Belinda and who Ella and Abraham have stupidly fell for, I believe he is an MI5 agent. I believe whoever he is, he's been paid to come in and befriend them, to turn this around, to make it look like everybody else is causing a lot of trouble for them. And that because of Belinda and Sabine, this is the reason why that she doesn't have her children. This is the reason why this is happening and that is happening. So I believe that whoever this is has been sent in by the MI5. We all know how the MI5 works. I know how they work in Belfast. We know how the lengths, the extremes they go to pay people. People in Belfast would have got £400 and £500 shoved through their letterbox in an envelope. Then the next day they would have been arrested. Then they would have been taken to the serious crime suite, and half of them, by the time they come out of there, became informants. So it's very easily done. So whoever this troll is, Dry Floyd, he is the one that is filling Ella's head full of nonsense, and Abraham's. And to be quite honest with you, I thought Abraham was a smart enough bloke not to fall for the likes of this. But I don't know, understand. I think he's just got a big ego here, a big ego. And it's not about his big ego, it's about these children. And I wish Ella would detach herself from him. Just detach herself. Why doesn't he come with her? Why doesn't all three of them come back? And if Abraham wants to sit in the little cloud nine that he's on, then well be it. But Ella shouldn't be on cloud nine. She should be right on that plane and coming back to fight for her children.
I wish somebody could email her or the people linking to Ella this show, because I think, your mum, you're just saying, do the right thing. And by the way, if anybody wants to call in the last 20 minutes, and then we'll get a comment from JP and then Kevin, we have change regarding what Tracy just said. It's 01444 390 270. And for the US, it's 347 677 0812.
As I said, there's something I'd like to add in there as well, if that's all right to jump in again, guys. And that's, on Ella's defence as well. And this is something that, a lot of people don't know about dynamics. And that is to have a psychologically abusive, which includes child abusive, psychological abusive partner, is normally, that comes from being an empathic person, which means they're normally very easily controlled psychologically, and they're made to be psychologically dependent. They can be emotionally manipulated very easily. They can be made to be a complete nervous wreck. They can be made to be what's called codependent, which means their dependency is they are a nervous wreck if their abuser isn't about, because they become so dependent. And it could be very much the case that if Ella is this type of person, and she's gone from the previously abusive partner onto this next, as you say, controlling type of abuser, which you've already pointed out, he's self-absorbed. You've already pointed out he doesn't seem to have any, where he's got callous emotional traits, and that he's not having a concern for the children. He seems to be more into the recognition of what's going on and going on. And if that's the case, then you can probably find that Ella is completely dominated by him. He's completely a nervous wreck and probably emotionally, psychologically exhausted, not just from the case, but from dealing with these type of characters. And she is probably torn between knowing what to do, and also torn between, if this guy turns around and disappears, where am I going to be? Am I going to lose my house? Am I going to be able to have my children if I haven't got a house? All these excuses and stuff will be put to her by him. And so she could also be in genuine fear. She might also have received threats and intimidation from the authorities. These same things that are coming from, if they're coming from MI5, to discredit Sabine and Belinda. So I'm not very good at remembering names. Then how much are they going to turn around and pay Ella to not come back into the country to make her look bad, so that their discrediting manipulations actually work? And this is something you need to kind of ask yourself: is what other kind of things has Ella received that we're not aware of?
Yeah, I was going to say, on a personal note, I don't actually think Ella's doing this deliberately. There's something missing. Why she's not talking to the helper, which is Sabine and Belinda, Julian, so Jules is probably now explained very, very good. Kevin, we are changed. You've not commented on this very much. And JP after that, can you comment, guys?
Oh yeah, I was just letting everyone else finish. That's all. Yeah, basically, I don't think they're doing anything untowards the case. I think they're just trying to find all routes to the best route. Basically, what I believe is, I just think with all the stuff that Ella and that's actually had to come through, it can't be easy, even if you are a mum and that. It must be hard. So I think I don't really know. I'll just have to take into consideration everyone's possibility. There's so many different possibilities that it could be, but nobody actually knows until it's there in front in hard fact evidence. Obviously, there's all different rumours, and there's agents, as I explained earlier, that there's agents and shills out there that are paid to blog and troll people. But that's just part of their disinformation game. That's what they're doing. Like Jules said, it's divide and conquer. It's like the Hegelian dialect. They create the problem and create the solution as well. But I think the easiest thing would be for obviously Ella to get on a plane and Sabine get on a plane and Abraham get on a plane, but that's easier said than done. Like you said, even if they do get on the plane, there's no guarantee they're going to get the kids back. And
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether she gets her kids back or not. At least she can show the whole country that she was the mother of these children. She's a responsible mother of these children. This is what happened to her children. She took them to Morocco last year. She took them away for the whole summer. They went through hell with them over the summer, as we are all aware. They went through absolutely hell with these children, and the severe distress these children were under. By the end of that holiday, they had helped these children immensely, both of them, Ella and Abraham. So Abraham's played a fantastic role on bringing this out the way he did. Yes, the video should not have been leaked. Should not have been. Kids, even when they were videoed, the faces should not have been put straight out. Their faces should have been blocked. Maybe that would have put some kind of protection in place, for Ella and things like that. But that wasn't the case. They didn't leak the videos. Somebody else has leaked the videos. I've got the person that leaked the videos. He's prepared to come forward. He's prepared to make a sworn affidavit, a statement of evidence that he did this. So none of them have done wrong. Ella hasn't done wrong. Abraham hasn't done wrong. Sabine hasn't done wrong, Belinda hasn't done wrong, and neither has hundreds of other people all over the UK who have been fighting and supporting Ella. And nobody can do any more else. Nobody can do nothing more else. I am begging Ella to get on that plane. I have got people on the case. I have given over all the evidence today. Every shred of evidence that I have, I put into the hands of the right people. And these people do not take kindly to threats from others.
Yeah,
and this is what she needs to realise. There is a new team of people who are working on this case, and I brought that information to the right people today.
Yeah, exactly. I was just asking the question through, as a member of the audience, that sort of thing. I'm a bit stuck because I don't know because of all the situations. And obviously, I know Belinda is a good woman, and I know Sabine's a good woman, and I know Ella is a good woman, and I know Abraham's not a bad bloke. He's a good bloke as well, because I've actually had the chance to talk to him. But there's so many. That's what I mean. There's just so many different things that you hear, and a lot of it is disinformation. So we just need to stick together because we don't want to be
we all
targeted, and we don't want to be targeted and split up. We need to stay united and work together. But it would be a good idea.
I think the biggest problem is, guys, in an email, you can get misunderstandings. If you talk to people, then there's definitely not. But the biggest problem is what I call type text. And Jeremy Kyle and Jerry Springer Live, and that's called Facebook. It's that makes the biggest misunderstandings in the world. Yes, it's good to communicate with people worldwide, but that's where the attacks come. And they've used, I've got a news story on it. They actually developed Facebook. I don't know if Julian's aware of this, but they developed it as a psychological tool against each other. And they thought, while people are fighting, they're going to be making money.
Yeah, we call it fake news.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, but funny enough, I've had a conversation with somebody today who's turned around and expressed that a lot of the self-psychological tests that you go on to find out what type of personality type you are is actually a way of them finding out if you're empathic, because it makes you an easy target. They can sell your details to the bank, and if they want to take the house, then you're the ideal person to target, because you're easily sort of influenced by believing that the authorities aren't corrupt. So you're going to be intimidated by a court proceeding and held against you.
Well, I honestly believe we've been a social experiment since after the Second World War, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Well, I can verify that. I was so, please come to the door outside. I was scared. I hid in cupboards, but now, take me down, inject me with all them drugs. I don't care. The truth will come out, even if it takes me a couple of years. But no, fair play. Oh, sugar, that's an Irish term, isn't it? But yeah, fair play to Belinda McKenzie, Sabine McNeil, they're ambassadors for the truth movement.
Yeah, they help a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah, they don't always get it right. I don't get it right. I'm sure JP and Jules don't get it right. We shouldn't be remembered for what we get wrong. We should be remembered what we've done right. Do you want to comment, JP, on...
Yes, please. I would just like to say I'm extremely impressed with Tracy. I think what she's doing is absolutely astounding. Julian's analysis is absolutely spot on. Now, it just so happens, I think it was on the 22nd of July, when Patrick and I were on the steps of the Royal Courts of Justice, and that lady came up whose children had just been stolen by two homosexual Jews. Do you remember that? It's on my YouTube channel. But the thing is, that was I just heard a similar story inside the court. When we spoke to that lady, her name was Aurora, outside, while we were speaking to her, someone came up and said, "Quick, come quick, the police are taking his children away." So what you had, all in the same day, you had 3 different women where social services were involved. Now, the story that Aurora told us about social services was absolutely disgusting. And people need to watch that video. It's called Homosexual Jews Steal 2 Children. That was outside the Royal Courts of Justice. Now, in regards to MI5, Gordon Bowden and I did a video on this a while back, because MI5 has been infiltrated by a German Black Ops organisation called the DVD. Now, I'm going to try and pronounce the German. It's the Deutsche Verdienstdienst. It's a similar sound, but it's abbreviated to DVD. So what you have inside MI5, you have agents and double agents, and there's a battle going on. You can call it the white hats and the black hats.
Yeah.
Now, the white hats, inside the government, inside the judiciary, inside the police, inside Facebook, inside YouTube, I've said for the last year that they're helping us, because between Professor George Lees, myself and Gordon Bowden, we have slandered and libelled dozens of MPs, and none of us have been arrested or prosecuted. And this is why I know that there's good people on the inside that are helping us. Okay? Now, what Julian has said was absolutely 100%. The only defence they've got is to attack people that are doing good. It's the same throughout history. Martin Luther King, JFK, Bob Marley, John Lennon, the list goes on and on and on. Anyone that stands up for truth and decency gets either whacked or discredited.
Yeah.
That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
It's the same MO. Their backs are against the wall. They're shit scared. Listen, I'm going to have to, because I've been involved with this directly, I can get quite angry. So I'm going to back off now before I say something I'm going to regret. So over to you guys. But thanks, Tracy. And thanks.
You're very welcome. So, JP, thank you. But people have to realise, and
Tracy,
Ella has to realise.
Tracy's passionate. Tracy's a fighter.
Yes.
You mentioned about your own case, and every time you see a child in danger, you are there. You are people. You are what people need to follow in this example in this truth movement.
Yeah.
Carry on, Tracy.
Ella needs to realise, and Abraham needs to realise. We're always here going on. Ella can scream at any time she wants. She can pick up the phone. She can go on Skype, and she can go on a radio, and she can get it all off her chest. These two children can't. These two children must be distraught, must be beside themselves, must feel abandoned, must feel nobody cares, must feel that no one cares about them, because God knows what way they're being treated. God knows who they're with. I mean, their first foster mum was able to report that standing in a chemist, that the two children Elisa had lifted a thing of Vaseline, and Gabriel had come over and said, "Is that what they put in my bum?"
Oh my
and
God.
This foster mother was there was so thing by this that when she reported this, the children were taken from her and moved somewhere else.
Oh my God. Okay.
Now you tell me why. Them children would have been removed from that foster mother's care, because they said that in the chemist, and the foster mother reported it to the social worker, and boom, they were removed. So these children, nobody knows where they are. And if that was my children, I would be beside myself. Absolutely beside myself. Now, when my children were taken into care, I left the country. I went to a clinic here in England. Doctors had me in Belfast, had me on 32 tablets a day, and told me I would die if I come off them. I refused to believe that. I got on a plane. I came to England. I went cold turkey. Within 7 days, I was off every tablet. Within 4 months, I was back in Ireland, and I was before a judge fighting for my children, and the social workers tried to make it out that I abandoned my children, and the judge was able to stand up for me and say this mother did not abandon her children. This mother was had tablets pumped into her for what they used the borderline personality disorder, for a borderline personality disorder, and not one of those tablets treated a personality disorder, because there isn't one tablet in this world that has been created for a personality disorder.
Tracy, there's not one tablet in the world that even works for, schizophrenic people.
Yeah.
Really. My wife's case, because I now remember you from another show. You were talking about the drugs quite a lot.
Yeah.
My wife's unfortunately still going with the same problem with the pills. But today, I think there's hope. They're going to wean her off them slowly, and maybe, eventually give her the counselling that she I'm waffling, deserves as a child abuse victim from 70s.
Yeah. Do you know what the problem is? They don't have enough cognitive behaviour therapists. Now, that's what this country needs. That's what the whole of UK needs. They need cognitive behaviour therapists. And from what I know, in the research I've done, in 2001, there was only 7 cognitive behaviour therapists across the whole of UK, and that's including Northern Ireland.
Well, there's something I'd like to add there if I can. I mean, this is something that I've actually battled with, because most of my investigation that sort of came up with this kind of the problems with personality disorders is I actually turned around and started seeking help for malignant narcissism, which is much more destructive kind of personality disorder, and includes the abuser types. Now, if you turn around and go through the UK and try and find a psychological abuse specialist, anybody who's providing any of those kind of services is hit, knocked down, discredited, because the authorities use these same abuses, and therefore anything to do with this, anything to do with cult information, anything to do with brainwashing, or any of these kind of circumstances, the UK censors and filters out and destroys any type of service that they can provide with that. Yeah. And like you say, CBT is one of the things that would help, but also the recognition of abusers, like borderline disorder actually normally comes from abuse. Rather than prevent the abuse, it's let's actually discredit the person who's got the condition. Yeah. If they're going to say they've got a condition, and let's get them parcelled off with a label, and we'll forget all about them.
Incidentally, guys, we can go over 10 more minutes. And I just want to tell Julian today, when we was in mental health, I actually mentioned the victim of being narcissist abuse. And how do you think my wife, I asked them at the end, do you think she's got any signs of that? She said, absolutely, she's got several, but I'm not the expert, and we'll need to look into that better. So
if you can find an expert on narcissistic, then please put me in touch, because there are thousands and thousands of people throughout the country who are in need of these type of people, because they're all being knocked, discredited, and narcissistic victimized syndrome is actually not they tried to get it out of what's known as the DSM-5, which is the catalogue of sort of behaviours and traits.
Well, she went on to say, look, we don't actually use that term, but it means the same thing as I'm trying to say. And she said, absolutely, she's got all the, I think she said something like, because she was a social worker, she said it masks, I don't know what that means, but it masks other personality disorders and other problems. But really, from what you've told me, and we told this woman everything I've told you, Jules, and she seemed to think that, she didn't agree with Stockholm syndrome, but she did agree with the narcissist stuff.
Yeah, well, what I'll guarantee is what she would have turned around and done, it was written down your partner's own behaviours and own traits. She wouldn't be allowed to document any behaviours bestowed upon your partner as an abuse or anything that she's turned around and got, and they will view that as a fact. Unless you have witnessed these behaviours being put on this person, then you can't log this. And so basically it means the mental health people don't acknowledge or document any abuses bestowed upon anybody. So they only treat your behaviours and traits, which means they can catalogue it as depression, give you antidepressants, and turn around and treat your own behaviours as your own mental health condition. They don't actually acknowledge that you've been abused at all in documentation.
No, she did look at the other guy very strange, and he was a CBT expert, and they said, I don't think CBT's for your wife, but we may look at, counselling. They've got to have a meeting on Thursday. They may look at the pills being reduced and so on. But, I kind of said after that, I said, look, you've identified something that no NHS in this country will, you've agreed in part that they will touch. I said, we'll leave it with us. We'll do our best for your wife. So I'm expecting now that I'm going to be a controlling husband now, because I've said something that's hit a nerve. But they did agree, but then I didn't record it, so...
Well, this is the thing. It's what they say and what's documented. And I've had, and I was actually talking about psychological abuse. I've had a psychiatrist literally take me to one side, literally in the corridor, and turn around and say, "This is off the record. Yes, you're exactly right. I can't turn around and put anything about this, and I can let you know that a lot more of this goes on than people let on." And turned around and said, "I wish you well," and gave me his full support to the full capacity he could. But still wasn't able to turn around and acknowledge that, because this is more in the case about my daughter being abused. Mine's a similar situation, Tracy, in that my daughter was being abused by her mother. I reported abuse, and so they took my contact and my parenting ability away from my daughter, and I haven't seen her for 2 years.
So they took your rights away?
Yeah, everything. They basically tried to discredit me. They even tried to pass me off with a phony psychiatrist who I even exposed didn't have qualifications, and she wasn't GMC registered either. The psychiatrist I'm talking about, I actually went to because I called their bluff and went and had a proper psychological assessment, for which I was discharged within an hour as a full clean bill of health, bar suffering with anxiety from the imposed oppression from the court case, and obviously my daughter being ignored. The abuse reports, my daughter being ignored.
So did you hand over those records? Did you hand over the evidence that completely upholding and proving the opposite of what they were saying about you? Yep. Were you able to pull that?
I took two box loads of and I'm talking box loads of A4 files with recordings, dialogues of my daughter explaining what her mother was doing to her. I had 7 independent witnesses who had been told independently my daughter told them that she was being abused. One included a police officer. I even had my daughter's stepfather, who was only stepfather 2 months. He's very similar to me, very empathic. He put up with the behaviours, actually married my ex-partner, He was then discredited by her. And this is how I learned about the manipulative behaviours. She actually turned around and ensued that he was abusing my daughter, which was not what my daughter said at all. He was actually the only person helping her within the household. When I actually gave him the documents, which turned around and showed that she was then ex-wife, had turned around and stated that he was the abusive person in the household. He couldn't believe it, and so he saw the documents, confronted her, and then he stood in court, and a letter appeared, which was supposedly written by him, stating that I was a mental concern, I was a health risk, or an aggressive risk to my ex-partner, to my child, and to his child, that he had met me, and that this letter was written by him, given to my ex-partner. She had forged it, hadn't even had the decency to not put it in her own handwriting. She'd kind of adjusted it a little bit, but she handed that into court against me, and he, in the court, turned around and verified that wasn't his letter. He verified it was the handwriting of both our ex-partner. Even the signature was very close to her own signature, how she'd signed his name, and this was all ignored by the courts, and they turned around.
Where is your daughter now? Where is your child now? With the mother?
She's with the mother, and I was actually banned. I'm actually banned from 2 years from appealing. I'm not even allowed to write my daughter a birthday card or a letter.
That is unbelievable.
I
would like to meet up with you at some time, because we need to bring these cases, because there's ways of bringing these cases back to court. There's ways of gathering up other evidence, and there's other ways of bringing this back to court. I wouldn't let that go. I would not let that go.
There is, yeah.
I won't be letting it go. But what I'm actually doing at the moment is I'm calling it to the point of where, if I know once I've got my daughter back, then basically I'm then not going to be able to turn around and do anything about the judge and the social worker. So I'm going to make sure that everybody is within this, because I know that once my daughter went back to her mum's, she then was basically then treating my daughter correctly, to make me look as if I was the paranoid abuse, reporting abuse parent. So I'm actually going to expose, and I want to take out commission the judge, the social worker, the CAFCAS worker who fabricated all the reports, who turned around and stood there and literally did a duping delight, which is the grinning in court as they were lying about the things they said. I've got them recorded. I've got the evidence against them.
That would be interesting to see, Kevin, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know what we really need, don't you? We need the children to be able to go into court and have a voice, because it's their voice that needs to be heard, because they're the ones they're the ones that tell the truth. They're the ones that don't cover up anything. They're just going to come out and tell the truth. That's what it should be. In them family courts, it should be down to the child to have their voice heard.
How old is this child?
My daughter's 9 now.
Right,
exactly.
From your daughter's 8 years of age, she has got children's rights. And if I was you, I would look into seeing if she is entitled to a child solicitor. Because children have rights, and I believe...
That's 12 or 13, isn't it?
No, when your child turns 14, your child can pack her bags, walk out of your home, she can walk the streets, and nobody can arrest her. The police can't get her off the streets, you can't get her off the streets. The law states that child has got more rights than any of us, and that child can walk off the streets, the child can sleep under a tree, she can sleep on a bench, she can refuse to come home, and there's nothing the courts or anybody can do about it unless it's subject to a court order. Now, that's a child from a normal home. But any child I know has rights from they're 8 years old. 8 years of age.
Can I just say something quickly? We're running out of time because of we've got Claire doing a show at 9:30, and Jules needs to use my Skype and so on. Our technical stuff. I've got one last thing to throw in, and we can only do this for probably 3 or 4 minutes. I'd also like to talk to you again, Tracy, because I think you'd be good to encourage mums and dads to take action like Kevin does,
Yes. Well, I've been with the Scott UK protest all last week at Downing Street, and I've met great mums. I've met a lot of mums up there who are fighting at the minute to get their children
Call
back.
me any time on this number again, Tracy. But let's throw one last thing in the works, and I'm only doing this.
Yeah.
I can drop everything for the next week for the Hampstead children. Let's do a Facebook campaign. Let's do a national media campaign. I'll do it day and night. Into Come Home, Ella.
Yeah.
A Come Home, Ella campaign.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Because she needs all the support that she can get. Ella needs to realise that Abraham isn't her saviour. Abraham isn't the answer to her problems. And staying with Abraham is not the answer to protecting her children, even for the foreseeable future. You know, and yeah, get Ella home. You know, we need to do something because Ella needs to feel the support and the love around her. And she also needs to realise that there's people here, there's good people here outside the Royal Court of Justice. Belinda and Sabine have put their lives on the line for this woman and her children. And she really needs to open her eyes and stop listening to the other people.
Will you call me tomorrow then? And if Kevin's free, you know,
because
come up with a plan.
Tracy can always come on my show as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We need something in place, and I totally agree with you, Andy. This would be a great way forward for everybody to campaign to get Ella and Sabine home.
I have to say, now that I've calmed down, Tracy, you are an absolute diamond.
Oh, thank you. You know, I'm the only one in Northern Ireland that would fight like this, like the whole Northern Ireland.
I'm so impressed with you, madam. It's
Everybody needs to do this. We have the Scott UK protest outside Downing Street. We have made it full residency. Nobody's going anywhere. We're bringing other organisations on board. We have had the police over at Mark Chambers today, giving them a hard time all day. We are continuing with, we're staying resident in Downing Street. We have brought on other organisations who are coming on board. We need people up there. We need people screaming over at Cameron's offices. And we need everybody to come together. And that would be a brilliant campaign to help with Ella and the kids coming back.
Tell my brother David Jenkins, you know, I know he's at Parliament and all that. But
David, your brother?
Well, he's not, but he is, you know. Well,
all right.
No, just say Andy Peacher said, make contact, because what we were going to do is do live broadcasts from, you know, Scott UK all week, but, you know, he got too busy and we never arranged it. But let's make a Facebook page with Bring Ella Home in conjunction with Scott UK. Why not?
Yeah, because David would jump at that. David would jump at that. And, you know, the thoughts of getting children home. Now, I had my children up at it on Saturday for a while, and David, you know, played about with him. And it was very emotional for David because my children are the same age as David's children. And, you know, David just to play with them and play football with them, you know, it really affected him, but it was in a good way. You know, he enjoyed doing it and things like that. But my heart went out to him because this man standing in the pouring rain, this man, you know, stayed there for over a week and he screamed over at David Cameron. He lost his house for about 3 days. But this man has continued and, you know, it kept Scott UK going. And everybody needs to get behind the Scott UK in order. And we, you know, it'd be great to bring it in with Ella and
my final words on this, we can talk tomorrow. After 3 or 4 years of losing my kids, I actually healed, you know, well, not healed properly, but I didn't become angry or emotional anymore. That man, David Jenkins, is emotional about his children every day, and I've known him 4 years at least.
Yeah.
So he's I'm not saying I wasn't genuine, but some people get over it quicker than others. He is the bee's knees, the best man I've ever met in my life.
Oh, he is. He's amazing. This man's children were stolen from him. This man was beaten and arrested, and he didn't care how many times he was beaten and arrested. He still went through them like there was no tomorrow. And, you know, this man's children were forcefully adopted. And I do believe that his case can be turned around because they were unlawfully removed. These children, any children who has been forced adoption in the UK and Ireland, people need to realise they can turn it around and go back to the courts. We are getting barristers in place and we are getting people in place, and I am training mothers and fathers to go into the court to represent themselves.
But there's also another route, which if you listen to tomorrow night's show at 8 p.m, commercial liens, you probably, a lot of people think, oh, I'm scared about that. No, don't be. Commercial liens are the way to go. Let's talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a little jingle now, and we're going to say thanks for everyone tonight to listen.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you to JP, obviously, and Jules and Tracy for coming on my show, and you, Andy. Thanks for putting us up on the show, like usual.
No, thanks to you guys. As I say, I came into this by accident, but I'm glad I did because when I listen to you guys and Tracy called in, I can't tell you how impressed.
You're not alone. We need you all here. We need everybody together.
JP, I look forward to seeing you at the old RCJ and Mr. Weasel.
Okay, yeah.
Andy, I will call you tomorrow and link up with you and Kevin, and hopefully the other two guys are on tonight, and hopefully we can all make a difference together.
Right, it was a little joke between us about the usher at the court, Mr. Green.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Green.
FreedomTalkRadio.co.uk.
Let's go!
This is the most diverse, most amazing, one of the funniest radio stations you can ever listen to on the internet. I've heard so much stuff from the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights.
The politics, the non-politics, the schmolitics, whatever you want to call them.
It's great.